She's Chief Executive of the Early Years Alliance. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Thanks so much. It's quite a complicated affair, this, in terms of the ages and what people are entitled to and when. Can you give us, just very briefly, an outline? What is it that the government has actually promised and when?
Well, they promised from April of this year that so-called free childcare would be extended to working parents for 2-year-old children and beyond. And from September, that would be extended to children aged 9 months. So it's 15 hours for 38 weeks of the year. From September of 25, the promise basically doubles to 30 hours of, again, so-called free childcare for parents with children aged 9 months all the way through to school.
Right. Now,
so
again,
it's a pretty...
it's very extensive. You've said the phrase "so-called" quite a lot. We took the stage report, and from the moment this was announced, people go, "How are you going to fund this?" And again, government ministers and the prime ministers have to go on air and say, "No, we will find enough money for this." But the crucial thing is, this isn't state-provided care. A lot of these are private nurseries, but they're not being given the funding enough, and they simply haven't got the staff or the places, have they? So are we confident that actually parents who are going, "Brilliant, I'm going, mum or dad, I'm going back to work, I'm going to get this childcare, I can afford this because I've got this childcare that's subsidised by taxpayers, it's not free to the rest of us, it's free to people who are using it," and that there will be spaces at the local nursery? Are we sure that's going to happen?
We're far from confident that's going to happen, Julie. You referenced, actually, that it was 1 in 3 local authorities who, frankly, at the end of the day, have the responsibility to make sure this happens. We're confident that this programme would be able to be rolled out. That 1 in 3 related to just September of this year, so it's 15 hours. It goes down to 9%, so less than 1 in 10 local authorities are confident that when we get to September 25 and we have to double that particular offer, that they will be able to do so. And I have to say, when you work in the sector and you talk to providers, they're far from confident that they'll be able to meet this. Yeah. This was delivered against the backdrop of record-setting closures and a recruitment and retention crisis that, frankly, we have never witnessed before.
Well, what is that all about? Because childcare is really, really expensive. I remember my years of having to pay for it. And we keep having all these promises. Even in my day, when there was some, 10 hours a week or something that was promised, it was at £2.50 an hour. Now, I know I'm old, but I ain't old enough that £2.50 an hour when I had a nursery-age child covered even remotely. You try finding anything £2.50 an hour. Of course, it wasn't covered, which meant the prices for the other hours that you got were massively put up. What is actually going on? Because we've got parents paying a fortune in fees. We've got people who work in childcare, largely women, being paid, let's be honest, a pittance. We've got childcare companies and nursery providers going out of business. Where's all the money going?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, to deliver early years care and education, I make no excuse. It shouldn't be cheap, because these are the years in which you are basically forming the life chances of children. But we have been trying to do it on the cheap, and we've been treating the early years as glorified babysitters. And again, as you've alluded to, I'm sort of called up almost every single year to appear in front of the Low Pay Commission, explain why it is that our people, who should be valued, should be treated as educators, should be treated as professionals, are actually on the lowest possible wages. We ourselves, let me say, we are a charitable organisation. We represent 14,000 nurseries in England, but we also operate 41 settings in areas of deprivation. This time, 4 years ago, we operated 132. We're not for profit. And the reason for all of this is that, frankly, there has been a decade, more than a decade, of underinvestment. We invest just a fraction of what other European countries do into their early years. And therefore, that's why we have basically some of the highest childcare costs that parents have to bear in the world.
Well, this is the
thing. Underinvest, somebody has to pick up the tab.
And yet also this policy is available to high earners, that you can earn £100,000 a year and still get free childcare. That's insane. And it's insane that we should be handing over.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. One of the things that came out of the National Audit report was that at one point, government said that they realised there was an attainment gap between, dare I say, the haves and the have-nots. Yeah. And they realised that investing this money is likely to take the opportunities away from the have-nots. Still, they chose to do it.
Yeah.
This isn't about children's development. This, unfortunately, is starting to make children obstacles for nothing more than predominantly mums going back into work. We've lost what's in the best interest of, children.
You're quite right. And by the way, a lot of those mums would rather not have to go back into work so soon, but that's not an option for them financially. Thank you so much for talking to us, Neil Leitch there from the Early Learning Alliance. Thank you very much.